Dear friends, seekers of inner peace, and fellow travelers on this journey of spiritual exploration, I thank you for gathering here today. We come together to explore a profound and transformative concept, one that has the power to reshape our lives and free us from the bonds of suffering. This concept is encapsulated in a simple yet powerful phrase: die before you die. Let us begin by acknowledging a universal truth that we all share. We are mortal beings. Each one of us, without exception, will one day face our physical death. This knowledge, this awareness of our impermanence, is perhaps the most potent catalyst for transformation that we possess. Yet how often do we truly contemplate this reality? How frequently do we allow this understanding to guide our actions, our thoughts, and our very way of being in the world? In our daily lives, we often find ourselves caught up in a whirlwind of petty concerns and trivial matters. We become entangled in the web of greed, jealousy, hatred, and anxiety. We compare ourselves endlessly to others, always striving for more, never satisfied with what we have. These mental and emotional states create a thick fog that obscures our vision, preventing us from seeing what truly matters. The phrase "die before you die" is believed to have its roots in Buddhist philosophy. It speaks to a profound truth about the nature of human suffering. In Buddhism, it's understood that all pain and suffering arise from our cravings and attachments. These cravings generate negative energy within us, manifesting as anxiety, fear, anger, and pain. They keep us trapped in a cycle of dissatisfaction and unrest. Now imagine for a moment what happens when we actually die. In that instant, all of these problems that seem so significant to us now simply vanish. Our worries about our career, our appearance, our social status, all of it disappears in the blink of an eye. We are, after all, but brief specks of light in this vast infinite universe. When our light is extinguished, so too are all of our perceived problems. To win the game, as it were, means to achieve this death of the ego before our physical death occurs. It means to liberate ourselves from the incessant chatter of our minds, from the endless wants and fears that drive our actions. But how can we achieve this early death of the ego? I do not claim to have all the answers, dear friends. To fully achieve this state is to reach enlightenment, to attain true inner peace, a goal that has eluded even the most dedicated spiritual seekers throughout history. Enlightenment is indeed a lofty goal, one that may seem out of reach for most of us living in the modern world. It's not practical for most of us to retreat to a cave and meditate all day, forsaking our worldly responsibilities. But perhaps there is a middle way, a path that allows us to integrate spiritual practice into our daily lives. When I contemplate this idea, I'm reminded of the ancient Taoist symbol of yin and yang. This powerful image represents the interplay of opposing forces, seamlessly intertwined to create a harmonious whole. Perhaps we too can find a way to balance the demands of our modern technological world with the timeless wisdom of spiritual practice. Maybe we can have one foot in each world, striving for inner peace while still engaging with the realities of our daily lives. This idea of integration brings to mind the culture of the Japanese samurai. These warriors adopted Zen Buddhism as their spiritual practice, molding it to fit their lifestyle of constant readiness for battle. They cultivated extreme focus and dedication to their craft, all while maintaining an acute awareness that their lives could end at any moment. This marriage of spiritual practice and worldly engagement offers us a compelling model to consider. So how can we, in our own lives, begin to die before we die? I believe the path to success lies in daily practice, in consistently training our minds to eliminate cravings and desires. It involves regular meditation on the nature of death and impermanence. These practices help us to loosen our grip on the ephemeral and to focus on what truly matters. On a practical level, I encourage you to set aside time at the end of each day for reflection. Spend 5 to 10 minutes reviewing your day. Ask yourself, did I live today as someone who has died early? Did my actions and thoughts reflect this understanding of impermanence? If you find that you fell short, don't judge yourself harshly. Instead, gently suggest ways you might improve tomorrow. And if you did well, express gratitude and set the intention to continue this practice in the days to come. Now let's delve deeper into the concept of inner peace. How can we cultivate this state of serenity in our daily lives? Again, I believe the key lies in mind training. We can train ourselves to see the awe and beauty in nature, to find wonder in the simplest things. We can practice maintaining an even emotional demeanor, neither allowing ourselves to be pulled too low by disappointment nor carried away by excitement. Consider for a moment the natural world around us. A single leaf, when observed closely, reveals intricate patterns and a complex network of veins. A raindrop falling from the sky contains within it a perfect reflection of the world. The changing of the seasons reminds us of the cyclical nature of all things. By training our minds to notice and appreciate these small wonders, we can cultivate a sense of peace and connection to the world around us. In the words of the great spiritual teacher Eckhart Tolle, realize deeply that the present moment is all you ever have. This simple yet profound statement points us toward the power of presence. When we are fully present, fully engaged in the now, we step out of the stream of anxious thoughts about the future and regretful ruminations about the past. We enter a state of clarity and peace. The ancient Chinese sage Laozi, in the Tao Te Ching, wrote, "If you realize that all things change, there is nothing you will try to hold on to. If you are not afraid of dying, there is nothing you cannot achieve." These words echo the concept of dying before you die. When we truly internalize the impermanence of all things, including our own lives, we free ourselves from the fear that holds us back. But let us be clear, my friends. This path is not an easy one. It requires consistent effort and practice. It asks us to face our deepest fears and to challenge our most cherished beliefs about ourselves and the world. It demands that we look unflinchingly at the reality of our own mortality. Yet the rewards of this practice are immeasurable. As we begin to loosen our grip on our ego-driven desires and fears, we create space for peace to enter our lives. We begin to see the world with new eyes, appreciating the beauty and wonder that surrounds us every day. We become less reactive, less driven by our impulses, and more able to respond to life's challenges with wisdom and equanimity. Imagine for a moment how your life might change if you could maintain this perspective of having died before you die. How would you treat others if you truly understood the fleeting nature of all relationships? How would you spend your time if you were acutely aware of its finite nature? What priorities would shift in your life? Perhaps you would find yourself more patient with those who frustrate you, knowing that this interaction, like all things, is temporary. Maybe you would be more willing to take risks, to pursue your deepest passions, knowing that the fear of failure is ultimately rooted in ego attachment. You might find yourself more generous, more compassionate, more present in each moment. This shift in perspective doesn't mean we become passive or disconnected from the world. On the contrary, when we free ourselves from the constant chatter of our ego-driven minds, we become more effective in our actions. We act from a place of clarity and purpose, rather than being driven by fear or desire. Consider the metaphor of a clear, still pond. When the surface of the water is agitated, stirred up by winds of thought and emotion, it's difficult to see clearly to the bottom. But when the water is still, we can see all the way to the depths. This is what happens in our minds when we practice presence and mindfulness. We clear away the agitation of our thoughts and emotions, allowing us to see clearly the truth of our situation. Now you might be wondering, how can I begin this practice in my own life? The good news is that you can start right where you are in this very moment. Begin by simply becoming aware of your breath. Feel the air moving in and out of your body. Notice the sensations in your body as you breathe. This simple act of paying attention to your breath is a powerful way to bring yourself into the present moment. As you go about your day, try to bring this same quality of attention to your activities. When you're eating, really taste your food. When you're walking, feel the sensation of your feet touching the ground. When you're in conversation with someone, really listen to what they're saying without immediately formulating your response. Another powerful practice is to regularly contemplate your own mortality. This might sound morbid, but it's actually a deeply liberating practice. Set aside time each day to reflect on the fact that your life is finite. This doesn't mean dwelling on death in a fearful way, but rather using this awareness to prioritize what truly matters to you. You might find it helpful to write a daily gratitude list, focusing on the simple things in life that bring you joy. This practice helps to shift your attention from what you lack to what you already have, fostering a sense of contentment and peace. Remember, my friends, this is a journey. It's not about reaching a final destination of perfect enlightenment, but rather about continually returning to this practice of presence and awareness. Some days will be easier than others. There will be times when you find yourself caught up in the drama of your thoughts and emotions. When this happens, simply notice it without judgment and gently bring yourself back to the present moment. As we continue on this path, we may find that our relationship with the world around us begins to change. We may notice a growing sense of interconnectedness with all things. The boundaries between self and other may start to blur. This is the dawning of a deeper understanding of our true nature. In the words of the Tao Te Ching, when you are content to be simply yourself and don't compare or compete, everyone will respect you. As we let go of our need to constantly prove ourselves, to be better than others, we paradoxically become more authentic and more respected. This journey of dying before you die is not about renouncing the world or escaping from our responsibilities. It's about fully embracing life in all its complexity and impermanence. It's about living with greater awareness, compassion, and wisdom. As we practice this way of being, we may find that our actions become more aligned with our deepest values. We may naturally begin to make choices that contribute to the well-being of all, rather than just serving our own narrow self-interest. This is the true power of spiritual awakening. It not only transforms our own lives, but ripples out to affect the world around us. Imagine a world where more people were living from this place of awareness and presence. How might our collective challenges be approached differently? How might we treat our planet, our resources, our fellow beings, if we all truly understood our interconnectedness and the impermanence of all things? As we come to the end of our time together, I want to encourage each of you to take this concept of dying before you die into your daily life. Start small. Perhaps begin with just 5 minutes of mindfulness practice each day. Gradually increase this time as you feel comfortable. Notice how this practice begins to affect your thoughts, your emotions, your interactions with others. Remember, this is not about achieving some perfect state of enlightenment. It's about continuously returning to this present moment, continuously letting go of our attachments and fears. It's a lifelong journey, but one that brings increasing peace, clarity, and joy with each step. In closing, I want to share a final thought from Eckhart Tolle. Death is a stripping away of all that is not you. The secret of life is to die before you die, and find that there is no death. As we embrace this truth, we open ourselves to the possibility of living fully, freely, and peacefully in each precious moment of our lives. Thank you for your presence and attention. May you all find peace and clarity on your journey. Remember, the power to transform your life lies within you in this very moment. Embrace it and watch as your world transforms. Thank you, and may peace be with you all.